What is going on, guys? Luke here today, and I want to talk about the latest NIO and Apple rumor that has just blown up. We will figure out what's true, does a partnership between Apple and NIO even make sense, and what it means to NIO stock, as the implications could be giant. We're going to have a lot of fun in this video, and all I ask for in return is for you to gently tap that like button and subscribe. Now, I'd be lying if I said I heard about this rumor earlier, but I didn't hear about it until I posted my video on the Apple car, and you guys just blew me up down in the comments. So because you guys brought it to my attention, I did what needed to be done, and I had to investigate this further. Well, the first thing we do know for sure is Apple is going to release something in 2024. Click this video up here for a full breakdown on that and what it means for Apple, and it actually has a little bit of implication on Tesla as well. Now, whether Apple is going to jump in just with software or a full car remains to be seen, and Apple is notoriously tight-lipped, so specifics are actually really hard to come by. But what we do know is NIO is expanding rapidly in China, a market that Apple is very friendly with. NIO is also considered the upscale EV player in China, and Apple absolutely is considered an upscale company. NIO would seem to fit Apple's image perfectly with their luxury lounges and high-end cars and a lot of the other high-end things that they do. NIO also has a car that is, on the road, and the manufacturing piece is figured out for them. And that right there eliminates Apple's need to go into the crazy world of manufacturing that Apple has completely shied away from in the past. And I see no reason why Apple would change that view now with something as insanely as expensive and as intensive as manufacturing cars. So a partnership from that standpoint makes complete sense. NIO has also proven itself to be extremely popular in China among the high-end crowd, and it has plans of expanding into Europe. Both of those markets, but specifically China, makes for an incredible proving ground for anything Apple decides to do. So NIO having a proof of concept makes them a very appealing partner for Apple moving forward, especially in China. I also think a partnership makes sense if Apple is just going to get into the software side of things, or even just the experience piece, or whatever the heck you guys want to call it. Then NIO makes a great starting point, as they have the exact customer base Apple is targeting. So they can basically use NIO's audience as, a testing ground for their audience before they go global. And since NIO basically outsources everything else, it should be fairly easy for Apple to integrate into the rest of their products. So as you can see, there are some exciting scenarios where a partnership makes complete sense for both Apple and NIO. But this isn't a hype channel, so we have to look at the other side. Now, for every point I just made, there is also a counterpoint, and more importantly, there are a few standalone reasons why this doesn't make any sense for either party. Now, I agree completely. NIO is basically the model I believe Apple would be most likely to use moving forward. So knowing that, why wouldn't Apple just go straight to the source that manufactures the cars and offer them a lucrative contract to produce the Apple car? I mean, why pay NIO anything when I can have the whole pie to myself? Now sure, if NIO manufactured their own cars, it would make perfect sense to partner up with them. But for now, they don't. Remember, this is business. And when you're the biggest dog with stupid amounts of cash, you can just basically make deals happen that nobody else can. And following up on that point from the NIO perspective, would NIO want to lose its identity as NIO to Apple? It is completely possible with a partnership with Apple, NIO just becomes engulfed into Apple and ceases to exist in most people's consciousness as NIO. So I'm not 100% NIO wants that scenario either. And let's not forget about Volkswagen too, as one of the other potential partners that's been floated around there. What does Volkswagen have that NIO doesn't? How about a global supply chain and entry into every market around the world already ready to go? Apple really does not release anything that is only available in specific locations. And if Apple's going to jump into this fray with EVs, it only makes sense from a financial standpoint to do it globally. Anything else is just a blip on Apple's radar and totally isn't worth their time. And right now, NIO cannot offer a global reach. And from the infrastructure standpoint, Volkswagen is far superior to NIO as well. And Apple needs infrastructure to make this happen. Looking at this from a different angle, NIO is also not a buyout candidate in my mind. So that eliminates them from the conversation if Apple decides it wants to buy someone out. So while there are some great reasons to do a partnership, there are just as many reasons not to do the partnership. But given all the things we just talked about, how does it affect NIO stock in the end? Well, this certainly has some huge implications for NIO stock. So let's run over a few of the... Wait, no! Welcome everyone. I am Morpheus, and this has a variety of implications for NIO stock. So I will give you 3 scenarios that tell you exactly what it does to the stock price. Now let's go. So if Apple decides to go it alone and poach NIO's supplier into making an Apple car at the expense of some of the production for NIO, this obviously really hurts NIO and the stock would suffer immensely. Under any other normal circumstance, I would say this wasn't feasible. But Apple asking is completely different from Ford or Volkswagen or anyone else asking. I can assure you they listen intently to Apple's proposal. And if they choose to go down that route, it does not bode well for your NIO stock at all. The second scenario is that a deal doesn't happen. In this scenario, nothing would really change with your NIO stock. Your price targets based on NIO's current growth should not change, and if you think it's going to be an $80 stock in a year, then in the end this was just a fun rumor for a few weeks, and it really shouldn't affect the stock at all. And the third scenario is obviously the most exciting. If NIO does indeed partner up with Apple to make the Apple car, this stock will run wild. And by wild, I mean wild run-ups, wild sell-offs, and just overall chaos. If you were into Tesla last year, think about that, but more extreme given the price levels NIO is at and the current valuations for NIO. They're just not at the same stage Tesla was, so it's going to be even more volatile. Adding Apple to the mix would just be bonkers, and it would push NIO from a fringe player into the glaring spotlight. NIO would jump from a little player in China being compared to other companies in China that nobody's ever really heard of, to being hyped up as the next challenger to Tesla. And I'm not talking about just here on YouTube where, lots of things get hyped up for no good reason. I'm talking about in the global press. And no matter what you think, whether it's going to fail or if it would succeed, there is no doubt it would be a monster positive catalyst in the meantime for NIO stock, and every other small EV player could only dream of that kind of catalyst. Because if Apple picks you, you're going to make a lot of money as a shareholder.